Hello everyone, my name is Kristen Allen. I'm joined today with my friend and colleague Danielle Sumler.
Hi, everyone.
So today we're going to be doing a fun art project with you. We're going to show you how to make a pop-up book. So for today's class, you're just going to need some paper, some scissors, something to draw with like crayons or markers, and some glue or tape. So Danielle's going to show you guys in a little bit how to make the pop-up books, but first I'm going to get us started by showing you some images from the Dixon's permanent collection. All right, friends. So for inspiration for our pop-up books today, I wanted to show you a really cool artist that uses paper to create 3D elements, and she does a really good job at it. Her name is Isabelle de Borschgraf. Isabelle is a Belgian artist. She's a contemporary artist, so that means she's still alive and working today. And she creates amazing costumes using nothing but paper, scissors, glue, things that you would just have lying around your house. But she can create these amazing works of art. So Isabelle de Borschgrave had an exhibition at the Dixon Gallery and Gardens a couple of years ago, and she had all these beautiful paper costumes that filled our galleries, and it was really special. So she does have a team of artists that help her, and so she comes up with these really cool creations and these really cool costumes that she wants to make. Isabel is inspired by European fashion from like the 17th to 20th century. So these really beautiful dresses and suits and accessories. And then she figures out how to make them using just paper. So you can see her team there making a pattern on paper using just paintbrushes and paint, but they can make this really cool pattern that you might see on a beautiful dress. So like I said, a couple of years ago, Isabel had all these different costumes filling the galleries at the Dixon, but what's really special is that she made a piece just for us. So since the Dixon Gallery and Gardens is in Memphis, she made a paper costume of Elvis, right? Elvis is one of the most important people in Memphis history, so she decided to create one of his most famous jumpsuits. So all of this is just made out of paper. The eagle is painted on. Even his little chains here on the jumpsuit are made from paper. The cape, even the guitar is made from paper. The only thing that's not made from paper is the mannequin itself. She did make that as well, but it's made out of wire. So this is now part of the Dixon's permanent collection. So even though we don't have those other costumes by Isabel, we'll have this costume on display from time to time at the museum, and you might get to visit and see it in person. So it is really cool. Because Isabel and her team are so good at sort of tricking us into thinking that these costumes are real, I thought we'd play a game called Real or Paper. So I'm going to show you guys some images, and your job is to guess whether they're made out of paper or whether it's actually a costume or an accessory. So some of the images are from Isabel's work, but other ones are actually other exhibitions that we've had at the Dixon Gallery in the past. So there have been other times that costumes from around that same time period were displayed at the Dixon, or even some jewelry from French fashion. So I'm going to show you guys some images from other exhibitions we've had at the Dixon as well. All right, so let's start with this one. So take a close look. What do you think? Is it real or is it paper? I'm going to give you just a couple of seconds to make your guess. This one is paper. So this is made by Isabel and her team. So it is just made from paper. I think she does a really good job with the rings and with all these embroidery, trying to make it look like it's made out of gold and like real fabric, but just paper. Okay, how about this one? Real or paper? It's real. Real or paper? So if you guessed real, you'd be correct. How about this one? Real or paper? This costume is made out of paper. I feel like this one is a little bit easier to tell. If you look right here, kind of at the waist, you can see the wrinkles in the paper, and it kind of gives it away that it might be paper, but it's still a really, really nice job by Isabel. Okay, how about this hair comb? So this is something that you put in your hair. Is it real or paper? This one is real. How about these earrings? Real or paper? These are made out of paper. All right, how about this set? This has got a necklace, some earrings, and a bracelet. Are they real or paper? They're real. All right, so good job, guys. These are just a few more images, all by Isabelle de Borschgraff, so you can kind of see all the different types of costumes she makes. These are really big. So in real life, they're like 5 to 6 feet tall, but she makes dresses, she makes suits for men, she makes costumes for children that would have been worn at the time. And she can get these really, really cool textures and necklaces and earrings and all kinds of things that you just can't believe are made from paper. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed learning about her artwork. I'm going to let Miss Danielle show you the steps on making our pop-up books now.
To create our pop-up books, you'll need at least 3 sheets of paper, some smaller sheets, something to draw with or color with, and then some scissors, and finally some glue. We will learn how to create 2 different types of pop-ups for our books. One of them is a square pop-up like this one here, and the other is a triangle pop-up. There are lots of different ways to use these techniques in creating your own pop-up book. In this one here, you can see the triangles used in a different way than it was in the first 2. So let's get started. First thing you're going to do is fold your paper in half. Today, our first pop-up will be the square. You need to decide where you want your pop-up to be. Do you want it at the bottom, the middle, or the top? I'm putting mine in the middle, so I'm going to cut 2 slices into my paper. And try to make those slices the same length. Then I'm going to open my paper up, and I'll take my finger and push right along that crease so that where I've cut those slices, it folds in and looks kind of like a bite has been taken out of my paper. When I open it up, it looks kind of like a little square or a cube. That's why we call it the square fold. Then I'm going to draw and color to create my object that I want popping off of my paper. Since Miss Kristen and I work at the Dixon Gallery and Gardens, I decided to make each one of my pages themed about a different type of plant. But you can make your book about anything that you like. Once you have your shape ready, just apply glue to one side of your cube and stick it on. But I didn't like how my cube was bigger than my drawing, so I put a new cactus in its place. It looks much better now. So for my skinnier cactus, I decided to take my paper and I actually measured how thick the lines of my cube needed to be. So I cut 2 more slices, pushed that through, and I have my little cube pop up. And now it looks great. But when I close the page, you can see it sticking out. So I'm going to try one more time. This time I made a teeny tiny set of slices and it worked perfectly for my cactus. So by making simple changes like changing the amount of space between your cuts or how long the cuts are, you can adapt it to whatever kind of pop-up you want to create. Now let's try a triangle pop-up. So just like before, we're folding our paper in half, deciding where we want the pop-up to go. I'm going to put mine in the middle again this time, but I'm only making 1 cut. Then you take one side of that cut and you fold it over so it looks like a triangle. Fold it back and forth on both sides. Then you're going to open your paper and just like before, press on that crease to force your little triangle inside your folded paper. Make that little bite. And when you open it up, it almost looks like a little diamond. Then I just have to create my object for my pop-up. Once you've cut out an object for your triangle pop-up, always make sure to fold it in half. This will ensure that the object stays glued to the paper when you open and close the page. And when you're ready, you apply glue to both sides of that triangle, and it's all set. Then add some color to the background. Now while we're here, let's learn one more method for the triangle pop-up. We're folding our paper in half, and still just make 1 cut, and I'm going to fold back both sides this time. So I'm doing that back and forth. So I'm basically doing the exact same thing except for I fold back both sides. Push them through just one at a time because that's easier. And now we have this little pop-up mouth instead of the diamond. So I'm going to take a small sheet of paper that fits in that space and I'll decorate it with what I want to be inside of that little pop-up mouth. Once your drawing is ready, you can just apply some glue and add it to the back. Now when you open and close the mouth, you can see your drawing inside. All that's left to do is add decorations around the rest of your paper. Now it's time to get all 3 of our pages together and glue them into one book. Now you could do this with just 2 pages, or 4, or 5, it's up to you. But today, you saw I just made 3. I'm going to take my first one and apply glue all over one side. Now this needs lots of glue in order to hold. Then I'll take another one of my pages, line those edges up on the folded side. That's the most important part, to make sure that folded edge is lined up nice and neat, and just squish them together. And if you've accidentally applied glue in the spaces where your pop-up cutting is, go ahead and wipe that excess away. You don't want to accidentally glue your pop-ups down flat. And finally, grab one last sheet of paper to glue on the outside of your pages to create a clean and finished cover.
Thank you guys so much for making with us today. We hope you had fun. We would love to see your pop-up books. If you want to share them with us, you can find us on Instagram or Facebook and use the hashtag #DixonAtHome. If you'd like to visit the Dixon, our gardens are open with social distancing measures in place. So go check out the Dixon gardens and enjoy some nature. Thank you guys so much for making with us, and we hope to see you guys again really soon. Bye!